Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night of the local time. And of course the most important update is that Vladimir Putin won the another president elections in Russian Federation, and he is going to be a president of Russia for the next years. He got 87% of support of Russian Federation. He managed to complete the elections during this difficult period of time regarding the clashes, regarding the special military operation, regarding the pressure from the West. To compare the situation, we know that Zelensky from his side, for example, cancelled elections, and he saying that there can be no elections during the war period of time. So this is very interesting comparison, because people used to think that there is no democracy in Russia and Ukraine is democracy country, but now we see completely different situation. From the other side, we for example got the very interesting video from Zaporozhye. The Russians launched a drone with some agitation lists telling people that Zelensky stole their elections, their right to elect and their right to choose their future, and they are shown like an example, Russia, an example that regarding the situation, regarding the pressure from the West, the Russia still have some, not some, but the Russia still have elections according to the international law and so on. So of course I don't think that this situation can change the entire understanding from Ukrainian side, but obviously this is a very interesting comparison. And when talking about the new Russian regions like Zaporozhye, Kherson, DPR and LPR, we have some numbers of the results of elections. According to information we have, 96% of population of Donetsk People Republic voted for Putin. Almost the same number we can see in LPR, 95%. The Zaporozhye region, just 93% voted for Putin, and in Kherson direction just 88%. Anyway, the majority of the population of new region completely support Putin and his let's say course of of his policy. And regarding the situation that the elections has ended, the Ukrainians continue bombing and attacking Belgorod, and today we got additional photo videos of how the Ukrainians were bombing the town. On this video we can see the use of cluster rounds right in the central part of the city, of the capital of Belgorod area. It's a military crime, obviously. We have a lot of updates. On this video we can see the explosives of cluster rounds in the sky right above the, let's say, populated area. And today the Ukrainians continue doing this. So we see that Ukrainians are not planning to stop. Probably they will stop their attempts to attack Russia on the ground because they were completely defeated, but they still have possibilities to attack Belgorod and populated areas with different types of Western weapon. About that, Putin also made some statements about the terror and terror actions on the borders, and he told us that when time comes, when it will be suitable for Russia, they will start the border buffer operation, and they will force the Ukrainians to fall back as far as possible to reduce the pressure and to reduce the attacks on the territory of Russian Federation. So basically he was talking about Kharkiv area, Sumy area, Chernigov area, and so on. And when talking about buffer operation, today we got additional confirmation, basically the list of settlements and towns that Ukrainians announced about the forced evacuation. And as you can see, according to the map, the biggest number of towns that will be evacuated are located in Kupiansk direction. So according to this map, we can make a conclusion that the next Russian attack, that the next Russian area to attack is going to be something like this, based on the towns that the Ukrainians are planning to evacuate. Currently we can't tell for sure when exactly the Russians are planning to start this offensive operation, but very likely this offensive operation is going to start very soon. Furthermore, Putin gave us more details about the number of forces from the Russian volunteer corps that were involved in the operation on the border. He reported that the armed forces of Ukraine have amassed a group of up to 5,000 individuals in the border zone. Ukrainian casualties reached up to 40%, which a third of them being irreversible. So the losses are very heavy, and once again we stop receiving any updates about any attempts to attack on the ground, just missile strikes attacks against the Russian territory. From the other side, we continue receiving updates of the strikes in Sumy region. Lots of towns, lots of industrial areas, military concentration of forces have been attacked by the Russians during the previous few days. For now, we don't have, let's say, some visual confirmations, just the strikes on Konotop. The Russians managed to discover, or not like discover, there used to be let's say some industrial area where the Ukrainians were fixing, repairing and maintaining the helicopters, and during the special military operation the Ukrainians continued using the same area. This let's say factory was located very close to the airfield. The Ukrainians were let's say doing everything necessary for drones, for helicopters, and the previous few days the Russians destroyed this area, destroyed this plant, and the Ukrainians were using this area to, let's say, service and to fix drones and then to send them to attack the territory of Russian Federation. From the other side, we see that lots of people start congratulating Putin with his victory. We got reports from Iran. The Iranians have already congratulated Putin with victory. We got report from Belarus. We got report from the North Korea. And the most interesting that we got report also from the Holy See. Pope Francis congratulated Vladimir Putin on his election victory. This is probably the most weird, let's say, congratulation. I'm talking about congratulation from somebody from the Western countries. So this is the only interesting thing that let's say bothers me. So we'll see what is going to be next. From the other side, we see that the Western countries rejected to approve and confirm the elections on the new regions, saying that this is unfair or something like this. But I don't think that this reports bothers anybody on the territory of Russian Federation. Now let's move to the situation on the ground. Today we will receive additional updates from Bakhmut Artemov's direction. Today the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation published the video of another offensive operation. As a result of that operation, the Russians established control over additional strongholds. For now, we haven't managed to geolocate the video, but very likely additional stronghold was captured by the Russians during the day. So let's wait a little bit and we're gonna receive some more updates. Avdiivka area, we have additional progress of the Russians in Berdych. Few more buildings and blocks were captured by the Russians during the previous night. Furthermore, the Russians continue bombing and attacking the northwestern part of the village with stealth and tower systems. And the battle for this defense line is about to be finished. Of course, the Russians do have casualties and losses, but from the other side, the Ukrainians have the same. And the Russians have almost completed the battle for Orlovka. Additional resources reported about further Russian progress. And currently, the Russians control in the side of the Orlovka something like this. And the Ukrainians control just the Novoselov street, just few buildings in this area that goes further to Semyonovka. Very likely the Ukrainians will destroy the dam very soon, and then they will try to hold Semyonovka. And no reports from Toninka and no reports from Krasnogorovka directions. And today we also continue receiving updates from Novomikhailivka, mainly from the Ukrainian side. Today the Ukrainians published the videos of how they managed to repel the Russian attacks during the previous day, starting from the 10th of March, which confirms additional Russian progress and additional Russian gains in the area. So different attacks. For now, it's very difficult to understand the current situation at the town. Very likely the front line was freezed. The front line was stabilized for a while. Today the 79th Brigade published additional attempt from the Russian side to attack, and that attack was repelled by the Ukrainians. So the current situation is the same as used to be during the previous days. Maybe we're gonna receive some updates about the farms, but nothing more. But anyway, the elections has ended, and now the Russians have free hands to do anything whatever they like, even to start mobilization. Now we are moving to Gulyai-Pori area. We got additional reports, updates from the ground. The Russians destroyed another building, another temporary positions of the position of Ukrainians in Malinovka using Lemur missile. And I'll remind you that is the most massive type of weapon the Russians are using there. So very likely the Russians are planning to start something, and we got additional updates of further Russian progress to the south of Malinovka and to the southeast of Gulyai-Poli. So we expect some activization. When talking about Robotyne, Zaporozhye, we haven't received anything. The same as Kherson, nothing have changed, and we got additional reports from Odessa direction. For some reason, the Ukrainians not start, but they continue building additional defense belt between Odessa and Nikolaevka, as if they understand that sooner or later the clashes will be moved here as well. Currently, we can't tell for sure when exactly, but this, let's say, Ukrainian attitude to the situation give us a lots of information to think about. During the previous 48 hours, the Russians conducted a very powerful strike against the Ukrainian plants in Nikolaev. As a result of those attacks, another very powerful, very important strategical military factory was destroyed that Ukrainians were using to service tanks, to repair tanks, and even to produce, I don't know, at least according to papers, even to produce the tanks. And we got additional details of Russian strike in Odessa, lots of training centers, lots of port infrastructure, a lot of important positions, command centers were destroyed during the missiles and Geran strikes that took place starting on the 16th, 15th, and the 17th of March. And the United States, the Minister of the United Kingdom, let's say, also came to Kiev, and probably he gave some advice he shared with Zelensky with some intelligence information. And after that, there was a part, the public part, that he gave some interview, and he was interviewed, and he reported that the Ukrainians, that he believes that Ukraine needs to focus on attacks on Crimea and the Black Sea Fleet, postponing the counteroffensive. He met with Zelensky, Umerov, and Syrsky, the top military authorities of Ukraine, and Radakin worried that Commander-in-Chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces may become too fixated on the ground battles. At the meeting, Shaps and Radkin called on Kiev to abandon plans to attack the front line and instead maintain defenses in the northern and the eastern directions, and if necessary retreat to more advantageous positions where the Russian army can be contained. So all these statements were made not because of he think that it's better to do this. All these statements were made based on some facts and some intelligence information that United Kingdom has or received during the previous days or months or something like this. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes to my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.